Okay, let's focus on logical arguments. This is the creating part of your course material number 3. Okay? Now, to begin with, let's start first with the different connectives and symbols. When you're given this statement, how do you transform that into symbolic form? What symbols are you going to use for these kinds of connectives? Now, let's begin first with this statement. Not P. Take note, it's not P. The connective there is the word not. This is the connective. And in symbols, you simply write this one. Pwede na siya negative sign, then the letter P. Pwede na pud kini siya nga symbol, followed by the letter P. And this is what you call negation. We had negation already pag last meeting nato, pag Tuesday. Okay, so take note of our first type of statement. That's what you call negation. Next is what you call, okay, let's have our second statement. So we have P and Q. The connective here is the word and. And is the connective. And in symbols, take note of the symbol for and. This one. So this one is the symbol for not. That one. The symbol for and will be this one, an inverted V. And this is what you call a conjunction. Okay? Now let's proceed. The third statement is this. So obviously, our connective is the word or. You see it there? We have a statement or another statement. So the connective is or. And take note of the symbol for or. It's simply a letter V. It's a big letter V. This one over here is a symbol for or. And this is what you call a disjunction. So take note, we already have 3 types of statements. Negation, conjunction, ang negation, not. Conjunction, and. Disjunction, or. Next, if P, then Q. This is very familiar because we had this one last meeting. Our connective is if, then. Diba? This is an if-then statement. So our connective is if, then. So we have if and then. And in symbols, take note of the word. This symbol here means if then. Kana siya nga symbol. And a line, yan na arrow going to the right. That's the symbol for if then. And this is what you call, just like what we had last meeting, this is what you call a conditional. Okay? Next statement. This one. Obviously, the connective is if and only if. This one over here is our connective. And in symbols, it's very similar to the previous example, kinisiya, pero naanalay arrow going to the left. So a line, arrow going to the right, and an arrow going to the left. This is the symbol for if and only if. And this is what you call, we had this one said last time, if and only if, that's what you call a biconditional. So just take note of the different connectives. Not, and, or, if then, if and only if. And take note also of their symbols. This is not, this is and, this is or, this is if then, this is if and only if. Now let's proceed. Let's practice transforming statements into symbolic form. But before having that, by the way, let's have this one first because the concept of truth tables is very, very important when it comes to proving arguments. So what is a truth table? It's simply either true or false. So, mangutana ka sa truth value. Sir, pwede siya true, pwede siya false. Either rejud anang duha. Walay laing value ang truth value. It's either true or false only. So what is a truth table? A truth table is a table that shows the truth value of a compound statement for all possible truth values of its simple statement. Or later on, masabtan na ninyo unsay truth value. Okay? Or truth table. So this will be our truth tables nga atong timan-an. All the time, dapat kabaluta nga kung kini siya ang given, maunday ni truth value niya. Kung kini, mausad ni siya. Now, let's begin with negation. So when I say these are the truth values of P, it's either true or false. Nya, inegate man nato siya. So meaning, when I say not P, let's start with this. What is not true? What is the answer? Not true, meaning it is false. What is not false? What is not false? It's true. Mo ni pasabot sa negation. Opposite nga truth value. When you negate true, it becomes false. When you negate false, it becomes true. So that is the concept of negation. Okay? Now let's go to the second one. The word and. So I am using here a conjunction. I am using the word and. Kini, I am using not for negation. Okay, let's continue. Now, look at this one. Kanus ara siya nahimong true kung puros true ang duha ka statements. Now, sir, asa ni gikan ang true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false? All the time when we make a truth table nga na ay duha ka statements, meaning duha ka letters, ang ibutang nato sa column 1 will be true, true, false, false. Ang isuwat nato sa column 2 will be true, false, true, false. So that is our first column and second column. All the time, those are your values. Okay? Now, take note, when I say conjunction, a conjunction is true if both statements are true. Mao nang true, true, true diri. Otherwise, puros ni siya true, dili kay naay false. Morning na false ni siya. Same thing with false true. Kay dapat man puro siya true para mahimong true para na sa conjunction. Is that clear for conjunction? Okay, let's proceed sa disjunction. Ang disjunction is just simple. Kung naa siya'y true, bisag usa or duha, basta't naalay usa ka true din ha, automatically, that is true. Mao nang kini siyang true, true, ug true, so ang answer ana kay true. This is, or by the way, disjunction. Okay? Natay usa ka true, therefore, ang result nato kay true. Na ako'y true na sad, so it is true. Kini siya kay puro false. Mo nang false po ni siya. So, balik ha. Conjunction, dapat puros true para ang answer nato true. Ang disjunction, isa lang ka-truean ni, isa lang ka-truean na niya, true na ang ibutang ninyo ana. Now, let's proceed to conditional. Katunaning if-then. Katuning if-then. Okay. So, when I say if-then, tanawa ninyo, maura ni ang atong timan-an sa if-then. Mag-una gani ng true followed by false, it is false. Tanan, puros na true. So, atong timan-an ra jud, kung mag-una si true, nya mo follow si false, ang truth value di ay basta if then ana niya, false. Kay true, true, true man siya. False, true, true po na siya. False, false, it's also true. Okay, so atong timan-an lang ang false aning conditional. Mag-una si true, musunod si false, it is a false statement. Okay? Now, let's go to biconditional. Ang biconditional is different. Now, when I say biconditional, dapat the same siyag truth values para mahimong true. Kung true, true, it's true. Kung false, false, it's true. Mo nang tanawan ninyong table. True, true, is true. False, false, is true. Mauni ipasabot sa biconditional. Dapat puro siya true, puro siya false para mahimong true ang answer nato. Otherwise, kung isa true, isa false, or isa false, isa true, it is false. Maunay gitawag nato biconditional. So don't worry, refer lang jud ta ani nga table. I have sent notes already on this. I hope inyo nang na-download. Kay katong tables, kini nga table, naani siya sa notes na ako gi-forward sa GC. Now, practice tag convert. But let's start first with an argument. In this section, we consider methods of analyzing arguments to determine whether they are valid or invalid. So meaning, ang ato diyang creating part, mangita tag argument niya, ang atong final answer, musturya ta. The argument is valid or invalid. Pero dili ta makasturyaan na not unless natay steps gi-follow. Okay? Now, let's have this argument. If Aristotle was human, then Aristotle was mortal. Aristotle was human. Therefore, Aristotle was mortal. Look at this one. To determine whether the above argument is a valid argument, we must define the word argument and valid argument first. This is our definition now. An argument consists of a set of statements called the premises, and another statement called the conclusion. So, in our example, kining if Aristotle was human, then Aristotle was mortal, this is a premise. Aristotle was human is another premise. These are the premises of your argument. Nya kining conclusion unsa ilanan na anang word nga therefore mauna atong conclusion. So an argument is valid if the conclusion is true whenever all the premises are true. So kung ang premises nato true and true pod ato ang conclusion, then our argument is valid. Okay? Now let's have this one. In the argument about Aristotle, the two premises of the conclusion are shown below. Look at this one. This is the first premise. I mentioned this a while ago. If Aristotle was human, then Aristotle was mortal. The second premise, Aristotle was human. Gika na sa atong example diri. First premise, second premise. Okay? And our conclusion, I said, ang ilahanan nato, therefore. So meaning, therefore, Aristotle was mortal. Now, ato ning i-convert into symbols. Gamitan dayon na natog mga symbols sa if-then or mga symbols nga letters. Now, unsa may mga sentences nga involved na ay nakabantay mo na agbalik-balik, sir, si Aristotle was human. Sir, nagbalik-balik, sir, si Aristotle was mortal. So I will be using one letter to represent Aristotle was human. I will also use another letter to represent Aristotle was mortal. So meaning I'll be using the letter H for Aristotle, the letter H to represent Aristotle was human. So, kini di ay siya, i-represent ni nakog letter H ang Aristotle was human. Ang kinisang Aristotle was mortal, I'll be using the letter M for that. So meaning, kining Aristotle was mortal is letter M. So kini pa lang ang first premise, unsa may symbol gamito na ko ani niya class. If then man ni, unsay symbol sa if then? Arrow, katong arrow, ingana ra. Okay, mo ni symbol nato, mo ni first premise nato. H nya arrow, M. Second premise nato. Sir, ang second premise sir kay H ra o ang H ra atong isuwat. H. Unsay conclusion nato ibutang din na. Therefore, okay, 3 dots, then M. Kanang 3 dots class, that is the symbol for therefore. So, ing-anaon na to pag-translate ang atong argument into symbols. Okay? Let's have another example. The fish is fresh, or I will not order it. Mao ni atong first premise. The fish is fresh. That's our second premise. Therefore, I will order it is our conclusion. Now, unsa may mga statements na sir, fish is fresh. So, ako ning i-represent og usa ka letter. Sir, sunod sir kay, I will not order it. Ang usa sir kay, I will order it. Make use of the positive statement. So, meaning, ang gamito nako kay I will order it. So, I will be representing ang letter F. The fish is fresh. Kini siya. The fish is fresh. Kini siya. Sunod, ang letter O. I will order it. So, kini siya, I will order it. Kini kinaaman ang word nga not. Unsay ibutang nato nga symbol para mahimo siyang not O. Okay, ang minus or negative. So, meaning, unsa may symbol aning or? Okay, V. So, in symbols, mao na siya ato ang first premise. The fish is fresh, or I will not order it. Mao ni pasabot sa first premise. Ang second premise, the fish is fresh. O sa isuwat na ko ani class? Just the letter F. Just the letter F. First premise, the fish is fresh, or I will not order it. Second premise, dara. Kini siya, mo ni second premise nato. Sunod ang conclusion. Therefore, is it negative O? Positive man ni? Okay. Positive O ra na. Ang negative O katong nay not. Since wala man ni not, I will order it raman, O ra ang atong ibutang ana niya. Okay? Now, any questions about writing an argument in symbolic form? Nakasabot na class? Klaro ra? Very good. Okay, let's continue. Now this time, unsaon man nato pag-determine sa validity sa argument? Mao na ning mga steps atong i-follow. Step 1. Katong gibuhat nato ganiha, write the argument in symbolic form. Katong 2 examples nato ganiha, mo to step number 1. Step number 2, gamito nato ang katong mga truth values nga table ganiha para ma-determine nato ang truth value sa each premise ug ang sa conclusion. So take note, ang first premise, i-determine ang truth value. Ang second premise, i-determine ang truth value. Ang conclusion, i-determine sad ang truth value ana niya. Mo na step number 2. Na ang truth values gamiton gikan na siya atong conjunction, disjunction, negation, conditional, biconditional. Okay? Ang step number 3. If the conclusion is true in every row of the truth table in which all premises are true, the argument is valid. If the conclusion is false, in which all the premises are true, then the argument is invalid. You will see that later on with our examples. Let's proceed with our first example. Balik pa sa Aristotle. Diba this is our argument? Aristotle was human. If Aristotle was human, then Aristotle was mortal. That's our first premise. Our second premise is Aristotle was human. Our conclusion, Aristotle was mortal. This was our example a while ago. Now, step number 2. Look at step number 2. Sir, asa ni gikan na sad ni si H ug si M? O mao niya to ang unsa may mga letters na anato H ug M. Tanawa tong gihimo H ug M. Mao nang H ang gibutang sa mabaw heading, M ang gibutang sa pikas. First column H, second column M. And I said a while ago, ang first column will be true, true, false, false. Ang second column will be true, false, all the time. Okay? So that is how we write the first two columns. Ang third column, mao nay first premise. Ang second column, ang fourth column, mao nay second premise. And the last column will be the conclusion. So take note, atong i-determine ang truth values sa first premise, second premise, o conclusion. How do you do that? Sir, giunsa man pagkuha ang mga values ani nila? Gikan na, unsa may symbol ani? Sir, conditional o gamito na tog symbol table sa conditional. So, tan-awo na tong table sa conditional. Start ta. True, true. True, true, true. Mo nang true ang nakabutang diri class. Sunod. True, false. True, false. Unsa may isuwat nako? False. Mao nang false ang nakabutang diri. False, true. Sir, false, true. Sir, true siya, sir. O, true ang isuwat nako dinha. Sunod, false, false. False, false. Sir, true. That's why I'll be writing true there. Kasabot asa ni gikan ang true, false, true, true sa first premise? Very good. Second premise. Letter H. Kung unsay naa sa letter H, ato ra na siyang kopyahon. Mao nang gikopya nako si T. Gikopya nako si T kay mao man ni siya si H. Gikopya ra na nako then si F, then si F. And sa conclusion, unsa may kopyahon nako si letter M. Ani ko ni letter M, which is TF, TF. TF, TF. Now, tan-awon nato ang mga puros true. Sir, false, true. Dili ni siya pwede, di ni siya pwede. True, false, di isa ni siya pwede, di siya pwede. Dapat ang first premise o second premise, puro siya true. Makita na nako diri ay kini o kini. Tanawa ninyong conclusion. Unsa may conclusion nato? Is that true or false? Sa kini siya nga part, kini nga part, nga puros true, true ang first, true siya. Meaning, the argument is valid. Kay kung na false paning conclusion, nga true, true ang first ug second premise, invalid atong argument. So, balik ha. True, true, nga true ang conclusion is a valid argument. Any questions about our first example? Sige, kasabot ra. Sige lang. Ako running i-record ha. This is recorded and you can play the video as many times as you want. Okay. Let's have our second example. Kini. If it rains, then the game will not be played. That is our first premise. Nya kana palandan ay if then gamitan ko naging ani nga symbol sir ay kay if then asya sir. Okay, sunod. It is not raining is our second premise. Our conclusion, the game will be played. Now, unsa may mga representations nato dire? It rains is one. Diba? It rains is one. Pwede letter R sa it rains. Nya human, ang atong representation sa letter G will be the game will be played. Sir, not lagi na. I said, tangtangon nato ang not basta mag-representation ta. So, meaning, ang R nato is it rains. Ang G nato is the game will be played. Okay? Now, let's go to our first premise. If it rains, R. Morning R, dire. Nya, if then man na, mo na siya nga symbol, dire. Sir, na ay word nga not. O, butang nga natug negation. Nya, unsa maning the game will not be played. Sir, letter G. O, not G. Mao ni siya'y symbolic form sa first premise. Ang second premise nato, it is not raining. Not, o, butangag negative. Rain, R. Meaning, o, not R, dara. Sa second premise. Ang conclusion, therefore, the game will be played, or therefore, G. Because the game will be played is letter G. Therefore, G. So that's step number 1. Step number 2. Look at step number 2. This is step number 2. Gikan di siya sa ato ang dire. Di ba mo ni atong first premise, second premise, conclusion. Tanawan ninyo ang first premise. Sir, maujud sir, naa siya sa first premise. This is our second premise. This is our conclusion. Gikan ni siya sa atong gihimong symbols ganiha. And just like what I said a while ago, unsa gay mga symbols atong gigamit? R ug G. Mao nang R first column, G second column. Nya T, false, false. True, false, true, false. Always na siya class ha? True, true, false, false. True, false, true, false. Okay. Sir, naalagi not G diri para di ta malibog, pwede ra jud ta magbutang og not G dinha. Unsa may not true? Kini man ato ang ibutangan og not. Kini siya atong butangan og not kay not G man na siya. Unsa may not true? False. So kining column G akong i-opposite. Ang true himuon akong false, ang false himuon akong true. Unsa may not false? Class, what is not false? True. Not true. False. Not false. True. O, mao na ni akong i-compare si R ug si not G. So, kini siya nga column o kini siya nga column gamitan nako ani nga table. Okay? Start ta sa true ug false. O, pangita ang true, false dira. True, false. False. Maunang false ang nakabutang dari class. Okay? Sunod. True, true. Tanawang table. Unsa may ibutang nako? True. Okay. True. Maunang true diri. False, false. Sir, dara ang false, false. Unsay result? That's why this is true. Sunod. False, true. Sorry. False, false day. False, true. False, true, I mean. Diri, false, true. false, true. It's true. Mao na siyang true ang nakabutang din ha. Okay? Now, the second premise, not are. Meaning, ang kining mga truth values sa are, balik taron. Unsay nahitabo sa true na himong? Okay, ang true na himong false. Unsay mahitabo sa false? Mahimong true. Mao na ang second premise nato. Ang conclusion, G, o kining G nato, kini siya, kopyahon ra. True, false, true, false. True, false, true, false. Okay. Tanawa dayon ang puros true. Sir, false, false. Dili pwede. Sir, true, false. Dili pwede. Nangita ko puros true o puros true. Tanawang conclusion. True. Sir, naay false. Therefore, this is an invalid argument. Kay naa may false nga puros true ang first o second premise. Kay naay false dire. Kay kung na true pa ni siya class, kini siyang false dire, then your argument is valid. Is this clear? Okay. Are there any questions? Okay. That ends our discussion for today. Ingana lang, maunay buhato ninyo, I'm gonna show you first ha. Kadiyot sa, I'm gonna be opening, I'm gonna stop sharing first. Okay. Let me open first the CM number GE Mat 4. Okay, para makahibalo mo, unsay buhato ninyo. GE Mat 4, CM number 3. There you go. And then I'm gonna present my screen again. Okay, share screen. Entire screen. There you go. Adto ta sa creating part. Unsay instruction sa creating part? Look at the instruction. Apply formal logic to determine the truth value of that validity of an argument. Sir, pwede ra dili siya gikan sa public figure or celebrity? Pwede ra kaayo. Any argument that you can think of, pwede ra na siya i-example ninyo, isa ra jud ka argument akong gipangayo. Unya, ang argument, isuwat into symbols, and then, himo mog truth table, nya naa na siya ang first premise, ang second premise, o ang conclusion. And then, you tell me whether your argument is valid or invalid based on the table. Ingana ang inyuhang buhaton sa creating part.